afternoon, everyone. My name is Lauren Savage, and today we'll be talking about renowned war photojournalist Dickey Chapelle. Born Georgette Louise Mayer in 1919, Dickey Chapelle grew up in Shorewood, a suburb of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. At the age of 15, she changed her name to Dickey after meeting Admiral Richard Byrd, also known as Dickey Byrd, at her high school. Dickey Chapelle is known for being the first American woman correspondent killed in combat. But more importantly, she's remembered for her exhilarating personality, fearlessness, and exuberance, capturing every moment on the battlefield and never shying away from danger. Chapelle was always extraordinary. Chapelle graduated high school at age 16 and was only one of 3 women accepted at Massachusetts Institute of Technology to study engineering. She attended MIT, but had aspirations of her own. She spent more time at the local airfields hitching rides in planes rather than studying. She wrote articles about flying and took photographs from the planes. Instead, she decided to drop out of MIT and head to New York to study photography. She married her photography teacher, Tony Chapelle, a former World War I Navy photographer. She began pursuing her career as a reporter and a photographer, and it only went up from there. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, Chapelle traveled to Panama for Look magazine to cover a U.S. Army unit. Chapelle repeatedly put herself in the front lines of war zones, covering battles of Iwo Jima and Okinawa during World War II, and traveling to Algeria, Panama, Lebanon, Hungary, Cuba, and Vietnam on assignment for National Geographic, Cosmo, National Observer, and other publications. She covered battles and took unflinching photos of severely wounded and dying Marines. She was tenacious and fearless. In 1956, she was captured by Russians while covering the uprising in Hungary. She was held for 52 days. She wrote an article for Reader's Digest about spending Christmas in the Hungarian prison. As one of the first, if not the first, female journalists covering the Vietnam War, Chapelle had to deal with arrogant military leaders banning her from missions. In 1962, an officer tried to deny her access to covering a field operation, arguing that there were no toilets for women in the jungle. She proceeded to follow them into combat anyways, shooting graphic photos on the battlefield. Chapelle wanted to shoot wars because war was where the action was. She shot to cover war so that people back home would know the horror and would no longer want to fight and go to war. She wanted to repulse people just like she was repulsed about the concept of war. She was very low maintenance and required no special treatment. She was just one of the boys, minus the gun. She ate the same food, slept on the same campgrounds, and went on the same missions as the soldiers. She never hid behind the fact that she was a woman. She was brave and showed the same grit as the soldiers she photographed. Chapelle worked as a war photographer for 30 years and received many accolades. On the other hand, being a woman, she received many criticisms and condescension. A famous reply of hers when asked about being a woman in a combat zone is, quote, "It's not a woman's place. There's no question about it. There's only one other species on Earth for whom a war zone is also no place, and that's men. But as long as men continue to fight war, why, I think observers of both sexes will be sent to see what happens," unquote. She died at age 47 reporting for the Observer. She was on the patrol with the U.S. Marines in Vietnam in November 12, 1965. A Marine at the front of the patrol she was on tripped on a mortar shell rigged to a grenade. Chapelle was struck in the neck by shrapnel and died. The photo seen here was taken by photojournalist Henry Hewitt, who was also on assignment with Chapelle at the time. It shows a Navy chaplain performing the last rites for Chapelle. Chapelle was revered by journalists and military alike, and was even buried with full military honors. A Marine honor guard escorted her body home from Vietnam. On the first anniversary of her death, a monument was erected near where she was killed. The Marines who dedicated her memorial marker included these words on the plaque: "She was one of us, and we will truly miss her." Her contribution to journalism is evident in her dedication and bravery to capturing moments out on the battlefield. Every photojournalist benefits from the lesson Dickey Chapelle's bravery and persistence teaches us on the daily.